back, race fans. Today we're going to go through a fairly detailed how-to on how to wrap one of these new Shark Ninjas and do it like a ninja. That, as cheesy as that sounds. Here we're going to jump right in. We'll start with the driver's side door. And these are going to be die cut right to the shape of the bodies, at least if you buy them from us at Trueline. But you want to try to get the very bottom right of this picture here, the bottom of the bumper, as far back as it'll go so it covers the bumper. And that's how you know you've got it lined up right. And then we're just going to try to get the rest of it sitting where it's mildly flat. Now the new Shark bodies do have these molded wheel wells, and they're kind of annoying to deal with as far as the wraps go. But you kind of have to learn to deal with this. This kind of thing will actually teach you how to wrap things a little bit better. And after you do a handful of these, you'll be a pro. So here you can see we're just trying to feed the vinyl around that raised area and try to get some of these wrinkles to work themselves out. Now this vinyl is going to have the air release like all of our stuff does. So it's not going to be too hard to work with. The only thing that makes this one particularly tricky is the customer wanted the neon pink, which I wish the video showed it better. It actually is, it gives you a headache in person. It's so bright, but the video kind of washes it out and makes it look weird. But at any rate, the multiple layers, because you've got the printed vinyl, you've got the neon overlay, and then you've got the clear laminate on top of it. So it gets a little thick and harder to stretch. But as you can see, we're working right around these wheel wells and making it work without any heat. And that's the trick. Try to get it to work without heat first. We can post heat it later to make it conform. Now in this case, the front end of this runs out, and I want to save some of this to use on the nose piece because, I mean, the customer paid for the neon. Why not make the neon go a little bit further on the nose? So we're going to move that little sliver, cut that off, move it up to the front, and just try to continue the design around the nose of the car. And you don't want to go too far on the Ninja. The nose has got several little contours that make it kind of a challenge to work with. But that little pocket there, that's the tricky part. You just want to try to work it into those pockets and then work your way from the center out. That's, I guess, my best advice. Always work from the center out. Work from the troubled areas that are looking bad from there out to the center, because the vinyl is going to want to bleed. It has channels in the back of it that let it bleed the air. So you want to start from those corners in the pockets, try to feed it in there, and then work it back out. You can see I'm using my thumb here with pretty heavy pressure, actually. I'm pushing really hard to get that vinyl to bleed itself out to the edges, to the lip. When we get to the back end of the car, the trunk lid area from there down to the bumper doesn't sit out as far, so we're just going to put a little slice in it and then roll that around. You can trim that off later if you don't like that. That just helps it stay stuck down for right now when we're going to do our post heating here shortly. But you just want to try to roll it all down. The rocker panels actually are a little bit raised on these bodies as well, which you've probably noticed. So again, you want to feed it down into those pockets, and then we'll heat that later, which we'll show you. Doing the roof panel is very straightforward. It's cut right to the shape of the roof between the front and back windows and side to side. So just try to get it where the edges of the windows, the back window in this case is the easiest because it's a straight edge. Just try to get that lined up and then just work from the center out, feed it all the way out with the palm of your hand and your fingertips. Work it out to the edge so you don't have any bubbles or wrinkles. Toyota Supra hood, the air cleaner does have a cutout already in there for you. When you buy the kit, we'll give you an air cleaner to cover that up as well, but in this case we just didn't put it on yet. But you see, if you get the back of that hood lined up with the hole, it should sit really square. Now the whole center section of this hood where the cowl is raised from the other sides of the hood, so you want to try to get the center of the cowl laying nice and flat and get that glassed out. And then when you get over to the crease, it's going to get kind of tight. The vinyl will get really weird. It's not going to want to conform around that edge. So you'll see right where my thumb is now, where I'm trying to press that in there. It is absolutely not going to go in there until I put a bunch of heat on that, which we didn't film that in this case, but you'll see how we work with the heat later in the rest of the car, and it'll become self-explanatory. You just heat it and then feed that vinyl back into that crease, and then you'll be good to go. To the fun part. With your hair dryer or your heat gun, please don't use lighters. I've tried. Doesn't end well. Usually burns the stuff because you can't focus the heat. These cheap Harbor Freight heat guns work really well. You just want to heat up those corner radius pockets, right where my thumb was, and then try to feed the vinyl into that crease. Usually it takes twice because the vinyl has a memory in it. So you have to heat it once to relax it, and then that's when you use your finger to press the vinyl into the crease. And then afterwards, you want to heat it again, which is going to try to make it relax itself again, but it will relax less the second time. And then you just have to repeat. Just try to smooth out those edges and pockets. That front edge on the nose piece is a little bit tricky to deal with. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to get that to actually lay down in there because there's so many little tight radiuses it's trying to get around. And another tip with the heat is use it sparingly. I'm just putting it on there for 10 to 15 seconds to try to get it up to a couple hundred degrees. That's what helps it relax, and then you can start stretching and trying to make it conform. And on the back, you'll see on the back wheel well, as you heat it, you can see at first it starts to show the wrinkle lines. But as you heat it more, it actually releases all that, and all that tension goes away in the vinyl. That's what you want. You want it to get it to where it smooths itself back out and relaxes. That's when you know it's workable. And usually about that point it can get a little hot. As you can see, I'm just kind of dabbing it with my finger because it's a couple hundred degrees. So, touch at your own risk. But you want to feed it back down into that crease. And as you can see, I'm even using my nail because it's a finer point to get it down in there. And then we're going to post-heat it one more time to get it to relax just a little bit more. It won't relax fully like it did the first time. But you can see it is smoothing itself back out again. And then after the second time, that's when we really put a little more pressure on it and try to feed it down into that crack. You can see it's conforming really nice right to the contour of the wheel well. And you'll see the vinyl tries to wiggle around and move, so you might see some spots try to come back up because of the tension that's on it. You just got to kind of go over it again, give it a once over, make sure it's nice and tight on the car. Well, that's officially a wrap on the new Shark Ninja Street Stock body. We hope the tips in the video was helpful and might help you wrap your next project body. If you have any questions about the video, drop a comment below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so and throw us a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you have any other ideas you want us to do videos on as far as wrapping RC stuff, just let us know in the comments below and we'll try to work out that next on the tutorials. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.